Hi viewers, welcome back with another video. Today the lecture will be on 5 writs according to Constitution of Pakistan 1973. The detail will be on 5 writs, that how the writs will be applied, in what situation the High Courts will apply it, and in what circumstances the High Court will use it. So let's get started, but before, please subscribe to my channel and also press the bell icon so that you can get more updates. So the first heading is introduction. So according to the Constitution of Pakistan, the higher court is considered to be the highest court in the province. Normally the jurisdiction of a high court is limited to its respective provinces. So there are 5 high courts in Pakistan. Out of these high court, one is based in Islamabad and other 4 are based in capital cities like Punjab, Sindh, Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. So it means that different provinces have different high courts. So a writ petition is an order given by a high court to a lower governmental officials or to a lower court in an effort to preserve the rights of a country. It means that these rights may be an individual rights, or they may ensure that the governmental system is running appropriately. So they are following different writ petitions, so that are defining in the next slides. So the next slide is on the constitutional jurisdiction of high courts. So the constitutional jurisdiction of a high court is defined in the Constitution of Pakistan 1973, but unlike the Supreme Court, its jurisdiction extends to both judicial and authoritative matters. So it is most important part because a high court is the highest court in the provinces and supervise the work of the subordinate courts in it. It means that the high court are uh, are giving the directions to the lower courts to perform its work. It means that the high court are supervising the lower courts. So the next heading is there the meaning and elements of a writ. So there is a meaning of writ. So a writ is a written judicial order to perform an indicated act or offering powers to have it done. It means that the judicial order is given to perform an act and it's have to be done. So the next thing is there, it is necessary to issue a writs in the following cases: that the court has complete satisfaction that the legal right has violated. It means that when the legal right is violated, the courts having a full satisfaction to issue a writs here. Then the next thing is no other adequate and speedy remedy is available. It means that when the specific remedy or damages is not available, then the writs will be issued. Then the next thing is that the petitioner has a locus standi to invoke the jurisdiction of the court. So here the locus standi means the right or capacity to bring an action or to appear in a court. It means that the one party having a right or having a capacity or having a fundamental right to bring an action before the court or appear before the court and litigate its matter. The next thing is that the petitioner come to the court with clean hand. It is very important here because it is a very known principle that when the petitioner come to the court, it must having a clean hand. It's mean that it must having a clear facts, clear circumstances through which they are bringing their actions. The next thing is that the court has a territorial jurisdiction. It means that where the person is residing, like he is residing in Rawalpindi, so he will proceed the courts that are situated in Rawalpindi. It means that the petitioner are proceeding to the court and bringing their action in their territorial jurisdiction courts. So according to these situations, the writs can be issued. The next heading is on the 5 writs of Constitution of Pakistan. So according to Article 199 of Constitution of Pakistan 1973, the 5 writs are very essential. The first one is writ of mandamus, then the writ of prohibition, then the writ of certiorari, the writ of habeas corpus and writ of quo warranto. So we are proceeding with the very important heading, that is analysis of writs according to Article 99, which is very essential according to Constitution of Pakistan 1973. So the first heading is there the writ of mandamus. That what is the writ of mandamus? So it is a command issuing from the High Court of Justice directing any person to do any particular act therein specified which pertains to his office and in nature of a public duty. It means that the high courts are issuing these writs and directing to any person to perform any specific act which are either related to his office duty or either related to the public nature. So the next thing is there the purpose. So it is issued for the purpose that justice may be done in all cases where there is specific legal right and no specific legal remedy is available for enforcing such rights. It may also issue in cases where although there is an alternative lawful cure, yet such mode of review is less advantageous, gainful and powerful. It means that writ of mandamus will be issued where there is no specific legal remedy available, or it may also be enforceable or may also be enforced in the situation where there alternative lawful cure available, but the writ of mandamus is not considered as a more advantageous, gainful and powerful mode. The next thing is there the conditions in which the writ of mandamus may be applied. So there must be a public duty, there must be a specific demand and refusal, and there must be a clear right to enforce the duty, and these all conditions are enforceable by high courts. So who may apply this writ of mandamus? An aggrieved party. Okay, so an aggrieved person can enforce the writ of mandamus by going to the court and for waiting for their orders. So against whom it will be issued? So writ of mandamus may be issued against the person performing functions in connection with the affairs of federation or province or a local authority to do anything which he is required by law to do. It means that when any federation, provincial, federal government or any local authority is required to perform an act, but he is not performing their act, then the aggrieved party having a right to enforce this writ by going to the court. So the next heading will be on the writ of prohibition. So the writ of prohibition is considered to be an order which is issued to inferior courts to discontinue a processing pending before it on the ground that it has no jurisdiction to hold the said proceeding. It means that it is considered to be an order of the inferior courts which are discontinuing any proceedings or processing which are continue or pending before any court or any ground. So they can issue the writ of prohibition to prohibit that proceedings. So the object of writ of prohibition is that to prohibit any public functionary from doing an act which is beyond its jurisdiction. It means that the inferior court will issue the writ of prohibition in what case? When there is any duties performing against the extraterritorial jurisdictions and to restrain authorities from exercising extra jurisdictional powers. So who may apply? There is also an aggrieved person may apply for the writ of prohibition. Traditional way of locus standi is available on the writ of prohibition. It means that there is also a principle of locus standi will be applied on the aggrieved party, that he having a capacity to proceed to the court for enforcing the writ of prohibition. So the grounds. So what are the grounds? The first ground is want of jurisdiction. So this want of jurisdiction lies only when it is intended to restrain a tribunal or a court which assumes or threatens to assume a jurisdiction when it does not possess. Then the next one is violation of principle of natural justice. It means the prohibition may issue when it is found that the action was in violation of principle of natural justice. The third thing is the limits of prohibition. So there are some limit of prohibition, that is unlawful jurisdiction, pending proceedings and proceeding parties without jurisdiction. So what is the exception? So this writ cannot be issued against legislative body, political leaders and parties and private organizations, right? So the third heading is on the writs of certiorari. So the first thing is the meaning of certiorari. So it means to certify. A writ of certiorari is a writ which is issued from superior court to call up the records of a proceeding in an inferior court for review. It means that when any proceeding is going before the inferior court for review, then the superior courts like High Court and Supreme Court having a right to call up the records of that proceedings. The next thing is the object. So the object of this writ is to keep all subordinate courts, it means lower courts, quasi judicial orders, tribunal within the limits of jurisdiction. If they excess, then their decision will be quashed by high courts by issuing this writ. It means that when these lower courts and judicial authority are gone beyond their jurisdiction while deciding a decision, then the superior courts like High Court and Supreme Court, having a right by issuing this order or this writ, will reverse the decisions of the subordinate courts and judicial authorities. Then the next thing is that who may apply for writ of certiorari. So there is the same thing as their previous two writs, saying that an aggrieved party or aggrieved person can apply for writ of certiorari, and also a locus standi is applicable, or the right is given to the aggrieved party as well. So against whom the certiorari is issued? So it is issued against courts, judicial body, quasi judicial body, and purely executive and administrative tribunals. It means that it can be issued against administration, executives, or against the judicial bodies, courts, and executive as well. So what are the grounds? So there are basically 3 or 4 grounds. The first ground is that where the inferior courts or tribunal acts without or in excess of the jurisdiction granted it, with same like meaning as I have told you earlier, that where the inferior courts or tribunal acts beyond their jurisdiction, so then this writ will be issued. Or second is where the order of the inferior court or a tribunal is erroneous on the face of the record. It means that when any inferior court or tribunal exercising or giving any order and it is vexatious or fraudulent or vexatious on the ground, then this writ will be issued. The third one is where the order of the inferior court is tainted with fraud, malafide, corruption, or collusion. So it's same as second. Number 2 is saying that then the inferior court order is involved any malafide, fraudulent, corruption, then this writ will be issued. And where the inferior court or tribunal has erroneously decided a collateral question or assuming jurisdiction that does not possess, and where the procedure is followed which is contrary to the principle of natural justice. It means that this whole writ is belong to the inferior courts, subordinate courts, jurisdictions, tribunal jurisdictions, quasi judicial body jurisdictions, right? So the fourth one is writ of habeas corpus. So the writ of habeas corpus is the most ancient writ which is also followed in the common law of England. So habeas corpus means have the body before the court. It means that the person must be appeared before the court, represented before the court to litigate the matter. So what is the object? So the object of this writ is to provide a prompt remedy against illegal confinement. The object of a writ of habeas corpus is to release a person from illegal detention. So this is a very important writ for the aggrieved person, that if any person is found that he is in illegal confinement, he is not liable for any of the corruption, any of the crime, murder thing, so he will be prominently or immediately released. So who may apply? So locus standi principle is also applicable in the writ of habeas corpus, and any person may apply for writ of habeas corpus against the detention of another, provided he is bona fide interested in the detainee. It means that before the previous writs it has explained that aggrieved party can apply, but here the 2 or more parties can apply for this writ. For what? For the person who is in the detention. So against whom it may be issued? The writ of habeas corpus may be issued against any person, whether he is private or a natural person. So the next heading is on the conditions. So there are some conditions on the writ of habeas corpus. So there must be a detention, and detention must be actual and illegal, and confinement should be in improper and unauthorized place. So the fifth heading is the writ of quo warranto. So a writ of quo warranto is a writ issued by a superior court against the person who claims or who usurped any office, franchise, or liberty to inquire by what authority he support his claim. It means that when any person is claiming that he is holding any authority, then there the superior court will issue the writ of quo warranto to inquire that person that he is saying true or false. So the next thing is who may apply. So locus standi is also applicable as the writ of in habeas corpus it is applicable, and any person may apply for writ of quo warranto. It means that the writ of habeas corpus and writ of quo warranto is very similar to each other. And the next thing is office in respect of which writ is issued. So it is a public office in respect of which order or writ of quo warranto is issued. For example, the office of Speaker of National or Provincial Assembly, the office of Advocate General of a province. It means like office of Speaker of National or Provincial Assembly, the writ or order will be issued, and in the office of Advocate General of a province there also can be issued a writ of quo warranto. So there is a condition that there are some conditions on the writ of quo warranto, that office must be created by statutes, by charter or by constitution. The office must be of a public nature, the office must be some substantive character, and the holder must have been in actual occupation and under of a office in question. And the third and the last thing is relief and writ of quo warranto. So relief must be given by issuance of injunction to a person not to act therein, to declare the office vacant. So what the benefits we have will acquired from these writs. So the first thing is that the High Court can issue writ on mandamus, prohibition, certiorari on application of aggrieved person, and it can also issue the writ of habeas corpus, the writs on the application of interested parties. And in case of public interest, the Supreme Court also has some power under Article 199. It means that the power is of writs of issuing a writs is given to the inferior courts, Supreme Courts, and higher courts. So the aggrieved party having a right to giving an application according to writ of mandamus, prohibition, and certiorari. An interested party means that two or more parties can issue a writ of quo warranto and writ of habeas corpus. But the interesting thing is in 3, in 4, in 5 all of these writs is the locus standi. So the locus standi is an application which is not given only to the interested party but also to the aggrieved party as well. So I hope that today's lecture will be clear to you, and please subscribe to my channel and also press the bell icon. So see you soon with another lecture. So bye bye.